Hey guys, it's Maria Park and welcome to Approach the Nerd. Really quickly before we jump into our Motherland Fort Salem episode 4 review, can you guys see me or hear me okay? Because my other microphone decided to basically go the way of the Camarilla, so I had to use, I'm basically using my Newman right now, which is a very expensive mic to be using for a live stream, but ain't got a choice. So can you hear me clearly? Just tell me in the comments really quickly if you can hear me, because I want to make sure you guys can hear what I'm saying. And then we will jump in to this wonderful spoiler review. So let me know. I know sometimes the refresh rate on this takes a minute. Can hear, thank you. All right, awesome. So today's episode, like every episode of Motherland Fort Salem, is absolutely cray-cray. But we have a highlight of the night, and that is my girl Anacostia. We will get to how she is 100% amazing in Motherland Fort Salem. So is M. M also gets a shout out because they are also, she's I think she's the one that's non-binary. She is 100% gold star today. I'm also going to be calling for help in a minute because I realize there's no fan in here. So everyone who's used to my live streams know I keep it real. River, I need a fan. It's hot. I'm not having a personal summer in here. All right. So let's just start at the top. The commercial. The commercial. They have an effing Motherland Fort Salem recruitment commercial that reminds me half of when I was a military brat in the Air Force. We used to go to international school, and in kindergarten and first grade, they used to play these commercials so we could see what our parents were doing in the military and kind of like brainwash us into joining later. It reminded me so much of that. Plus everything we saw on WandaVision. If you're in the MCU and you watch WandaVision, like all the commercials we saw, that's what the recruitment video reminded me of. I was laughing my A off. I was like, no, they didn't. And you see Alder literally at the end, and I'm like, man, this is a mess. This is a mess. I think this is Alder's version of WandaVision. It's called Alder Vision because girl is shady. Like she has lost her effing mind. All right, so this video basically serves as a vehicle to get people to come and test to see if they're witches. And they're bringing them in by Latrobe's. They have a location set up. There are protesters that are literally, out there losing their crap. Of course, Bonnie and her cray-cray hubby are out there. Anacostia and, of course, Scylla eventually pretend to be, in on the Not Our Daughters protest. But the Camarilla are using this as a excuse to basically kill witches. And we are learning that their target still is the Bellwether clan. They're after Abigail, like hardcore. They want Abigail. And they almost succeed. I'll get to that in a second too. But let's get to our highlights first. So, Alder doesn't realize that Anacostia is working with Scylla. Now, this was all orchestrated that we've learned by Petra. Petra is the one that set up this whole thing where Anacostia was going to let Scylla go and basically join forces with her and try and get to the Camarilla, which I think is motivated by the fact that her niece, her sister's daughter, had her vocal cords cut out by the Camarilla on her wedding day. So I knew Petra wasn't going to sit down for that, especially after Alder puppeted or basically had the president be puppeted by her and her biddies. And I'm telling you guys, when Anacostia and Petra were in there asking for permission to do, carry out, their plan, Alder was like, so you're working with Petra now. You work for her, not me. And she's like, she said something and Anacostia said, no, she said, you didn't ask for permission. And Anacostia said, no, I didn't ask. No, she said, you didn't have permission to speak freely. And Anacostia was like, I didn't ask. And I mean, when she said that, I was like, oh, the gloves came off. Anacostia was looking like, bitch, please. And she said, I mean, you do whatever you want. Like when you want people to do what you want, like with the president, how you made her say what you want. She basically broke it down in a very clear and smooth way, meaning, I know what you did, B. I saw it. And Alder was in her feelings. And what's so funny to me is Anacostia didn't give 5 Fs about Alder being mad at her. She did not give 5. And even went so far after all that saying, with all due respect, ma'am, this is, General Bellwether's operation. I was like, like, guys, Anacostia, you do not want to piss Anacostia off. We have learned this. We have learned it. When she said that, I was waiting for those earrings to come out. I'm like, you don't know who you're talking to, B. Woo. She had some black girl magic in that office. I'm just letting you know. She was not. She looked at her like, I don't care how old you are. I'll whoop you butt back to creation. So yeah, that was interesting. And what I also thought was interesting is the fact that when Anacostia left, and by the way, she was not fazed by the biddies. Alder looked like she was about to cry in the window. She's like, my adopted biatch doesn't love me anymore. Guys, guys, like, yeah, that was a thing. All right. So I had to take notes because Tally was dropping names in this episode. She mentioned this battle. Well, basically, she was talking to Petra because Abigail invited her and Rael to have lunch with them because she's getting tired of her mama basically trying to make her have sex and create babies with Gregorio. So that entire thing is funny to me. But Tally was asking questions about Liberia and about Estherbrook and her witches who basically martyred themselves instead of being conscripted. And of course, she dropped in Baton's name. She's like, Baton was like a person that was there with Alder, right? And Petra was like, what are you talking about? And every history book says that Sarah wasn't even there. So Alder has had literally had herself extracted from everything in history saying she was there with Estherbrook and the other witches when they martyred themselves. Now, when we saw the flashback of Baton, it looked like they didn't martyr themselves. It looked like the witches that were in there being burned alive were actually just being burned alive. Maybe Sarah didn't want them to martyr themselves, didn't want to make that message because she wanted to keep in control. She wanted the army to survive. So she ended up killing the witches. I think that's pretty much what happened. She massacred them. That's just a theory I have. But I think that Estherbrook and her witches were the ones that were in there that were sealed and screaming and were set on fire. And Baton was like, you have a black heart, Sarah. So I would not be shocked at all if the reason we don't know about Alder being there is because she's the one that murdered them. Just throwing it out there. And Tally is like, she is completely 180 from how she was at the beginning when she was still connected to Alder. And she was like, anybody that said anything about Alder, she was like ready to attack like Cujo. Now she's like, Alder's a liar. All she does is lie. I mean, Alder, Tally is really scary when she's ticked off. I'm like, she is very, very scary when she is mad. And it's so funny because I'm used to her being the sweetest one of the 3. And I think that's probably her disguise. You got to watch out for the sweet ones. You think it's the quiet ones. It's the sweet ones you need to watch out for. So yeah, Tally was, at the end of the episode, she rolled right into Alder's office and she's like, we need to talk about who Nesca Baton is. Because, stop lying to me. No more lies. Tell me who this woman is. And you see Sarah sitting there with her old woman tea. And she's like, her eyes got this big. I'm like, yeah, you don't got your biddies around. She might actually hurt you. I don't know. But that is going to be interesting for next week. I really hope they do pick up from that scene, but I mean, they might not because, they're going to go out there fighting spirits and stuff or whatever's happening next week on Halloween. But yeah, Tally is pretty much done with Alder's crap. And I get it because one of the main things that happened in this episode was, Abigail went through a lot more loss. This girl is in it this season. She's going through it. Adil was like, yeah, you blame me for getting all my people massacred. Like it was my fault. And she's like, I didn't mean it that way. He's like, it doesn't matter. I'm leaving. I'm going to India. And, with Kalita, she thinks we have a new place. We have found a new home and I'm just going to pack my stuff. Goodbye, Abigail. And he was like, literally, and I'm out. So her boyfriend is gone. She feels completely useless. She blew her voice out trying to create the new work. like her ancestor last week, the storms still haven't gone away. It's still storming because of her. And she doesn't want to say anything about it because she doesn't want all that heat coming down on her. So Tally and Raelle know. And of course, Gregorio probably does know. Adil knows, but nobody else knows. So not only that, Abby went to lunch with her mom, and her mom, first thing she said was, so I heard Gregorio's got a lot of prospects. You should hurry up and jump on that. And then she's like, oh, by the way, Raelle, congratulations on being awesome. And I'm like, what? Abby's sitting there drinking her tea like, I'm a failure. And Raelle, I love her and Raelle. I'm telling you, I will ship them to the end. Raelle was like, she saw Abby and how her mother was talking to her. And so she literally downplayed it. She's like, oh, it's all a blur, but thank you. Because she didn't want Abby feeling worse about herself. And throughout this whole episode, Ray was trying to like pep talk her. And I was like, that's my girl. But I felt so bad for Abby because she's training. She's trying to feel important. When M called them for Alder's mission to go, we basically work security detail. Only Tally and Raelle were asked to stay behind. They pretty much dismissed Abigail like she was nothing. That is really hard. And like I said last week, I felt bad because basically all they see her for is her womb. And it's getting to her. But then they go to basically the security detail. The protesters are there. The Camarilla are there. They set up this trap. And then they do something so effed up in this episode. They literally use Charvel's voice to lure Abigail to them. They block so Tally can't, her sight's not working. They can't, communicate with each other. They literally use Charvel's voice. And they know Abigail is so traumatized over her cousin being killed. There's no way since last season she's gotten over this. So she runs to save Charvel, who, she was laying dead with her vocal cords ripped out in a bathtub last season at the Bellwether wedding episode. But in her mind, she's still trying to save Charvel. And now I'm seeing she's always trying to save Charvel. So she runs to this like parking lot and she gets ambushed. And she does, she uses her whip. She can't use the work because they're blocking her. But she takes a lot of them down, but unfortunately they double team her, they overpower her and they manage to cut like a line in her throat before, let's give my gold star to M. M and Tally run in and M's like, this is going to be fun. And M went through them like Kleenex. They were like, you know what? You and you and you and you and you, I'm gonna snap your neck. Come on, M. I would not fight M. M should be the fourth member of their team because M was not effing around with the Camarilla at all. I think if M had been there, even without the work, it would not have mattered. I think M would have literally beat the holy hell out of all of them because they have OP leader for their coven. M is OP. Just throwing it out there. And it was so sad. Abigail's on the ground crying and you see Tally's like, it's over. It's over. And I'm like, what is happening? I did wonder why Raelle didn't go with them to find, Abigail. But then I realized it's because they had to set it up for her to see Scylla. But it still makes no sense to me because whenever one of them is in danger, all of them are like, the other two will run. And Abigail didn't. And it's really weird. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But, whatever. Like, I know I get a lot of heat for my dislike of Scylla's terrorism. And I get a lot of heat for... again, I say this every week, so I know I've lost subs over this, guys, but I got to keep it real. I understand, again, that Scylla and Raelle are cute, but she's still a terrorist and she still massacred a lot of people. It's a massacre or she killed people. And so you're rooting for a killer. And I don't understand. I don't understand. So it's really hard for me, guys. I am sorry. I know there's so many Rayla fans. I can't get on board with you. Because there's been no redemption for Scylla. There's not. She felt bad, going to the place where she committed the largest murder, and seeing all the victims there, the families there. But at the end of the day, she has not redeemed herself. I'm sorry. So This is all the Camarilla. The Camarilla is a threat to both the army and the spree. This is not her doing a redemption journey. This is literally her trying to save her own A and the other witches' A, by working with Anacostia. So I'm just saying, until she gets a full redemption thing, I don't support it whatsoever. I can't do it. And it's really interesting how many people get in their feelings about that. There are some people that get toxic when they're like, oh, but it's Rayla. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I mean, chemistry and cuteness does not trump you killing people. So you'll be all right. But it is what it is. But it's a thing. But like the whole overall thing with the Camarilla, like somebody had made a comment on my last week's video, and I think the person was Little Boots. So if you're in here, I'm calling you out because you did a good job of putting something in my head that I can't get out now. And that is that Vice President Silva may be a Camarilla. And I can't not see that now. I'm like, I can't unsee that in my mind. Just by how he looks at his daughter, it's like he's torn because he absolutely doesn't seem to like witches, but his daughter's one. And so I feel like there's some validity to that. I feel like that could be how the Camarilla know when things are going down. And that's because basically Vice President Silva may be in the Camarilla. And I don't know how I feel about that because that is going to be messed up. And just like how he said the spree's coming, like I got to get my daughter out of here. Yes, he could have just been doing that as a concerned parent, but he also could have had knowledge of what was going down. And that is something because somebody powerful is basically letting them bring these bombs in. They had a cop, they had like some of the servers or setup people, and nobody was checking anything like at all. And I feel like they have the most lax security for what they were doing because nobody, like they had one guard and that guard is a Camarilla. So somebody has to be pulling those strings. I don't think it's the president because I kind of feel like the president is still messed up from what Sarah did when she puppeted her, not once, but technically twice because she did it in this season when she was in office getting her to sign that bill. So, yeah. I really think if there's a high profiled person in the Camarilla, it is 100% Vice President Silva. So yeah, but yeah, that the security was like cray. I'm sorry, but like anybody could come up with bombs, guns. They didn't even need to like literally have the Camarilla. They could have just come and opened fire on everybody. Because see, right now the witches are on a very precarious situation because if they defend themselves against regular civilians that do not have powers, then they're essentially murdering civilians, are injuring civilians. And optically, it doesn't look good when you already have people protesting that not our daughters and people had signs saying, no, a good witch is a dead witch and stuff like that. Like you don't have the optics that allow you to defend yourself. So even when they threw fire at them, even when they were throwing stuff and surrounding them, they couldn't do anything. They can just dodge. That's literally it. So yeah, Little Boots, I just saw you pop in. No problem. I'm telling you, I'm loving that theory. That is a really good theory that Vice President Silva is potentially very, very deeply involved in the Camarilla. And that would be... that'll add another layer of crap to this whole thing. But yeah, there's so many things going on. I mean, we still have the spree. We saw Willow was talking to another member of a different spree cell, and she even said, "We're not the military." They basically are not. What do you call it? They are not like the army. They don't work together. They don't make decisions together. There's not like a democracy in the spree. So they're different terrorist cells, like terrorists, in real life. So she was talking to somebody and they're like, well, we're doing this. And then Willow's like, well, I don't care. We're not doing it. And she's like, well, our cell's not going to like that. And she's like, I basically don't care. You guys can do your, whatever suicide run all you want, but that's not going to be us. So we already see the disorganization within the spree itself. And then when the Camarilla attacked, Alder blamed it on the spree. and it's like, okay, again, I am not a spree supporter. They killed people. But I mean, you got to give, I know she's trying to stop a panic, but she blaming it on a different terrorist group is not helping the situation. It's making people act out and hate the army more, because the reason they're protesting right now is because people have been murdered by the spree, not the Camarilla, by the spree. And they feel like the witches and the army haven't done anything to protect them. And so now you're saying that a protest telling you, not our daughters, is attacked by the spree. It shows that the army is weak against the spree. And so now people are going to be even more in their feelings about it. And honestly, optically, that was stupid. They could have played dumb. Like, we don't know who attacked us. We need to research this. We don't understand. Or we could have said this could have been somebody within, the civilian camp that set this up because they were angry we were here. By saying it was the spree, you have made all of the army look incompetent. That's how I look at that. So yeah, that was messed up. The scene with Abigail having to be sedated, which means she was like in her feelings. They were talking. She's like, are we at war with the Camarilla? And of course, Rael's like, no. Alder basically blamed it on the spree. And even Abigail was like, oh, just one lie after the other. That's what set Tally off too. And so them knowing the truth means, what else is this woman lying about? And we know she's lying about a lot of stuff. I think at the end of the day, when all of Alder's stuff comes up, it's going to be a literal witch trial. It's going to be a modern day witch trial, but it's going to be by other witches, because they're going to come for her because I think she has set up a foundation of lies in the army. And it's so sad because we got all these new witches coming and they're looking up to Alder, and she's putting on that face, the recruitment face, which is a recruitment face a lot of military recruiters put on. I'm just putting it out there. So like that stuff is true to life. But you get in the military and you're like, this is not what I signed up for. That's literally what's going to happen to these poor girls. And I feel so bad about it. But again, I mean, that's the law of the land. When you're a witch, you have to serve in the military, because that's the deal that Alder made, sealing the fate of all the witches that came after her. Even though people are like, yeah, she saved the witches by doing that. But yeah, that was 300 years ago. We could have evolved since then. There have been many a president. We could have gone and said, you know what? We kind of feel like this is slavery. So how about we just have it on a more voluntary, kind of level. But no. There was no renegotiating. They still have the same freaking treaty they had when she first signed. So shady. But let's be clear. This is Maria's opinion. Alder loves the military life. She loves being in charge. She loves being a leader. She loves being in the history books. This is all Alder's ego. It doesn't have a damn thing to do with her sisterhood or her daughters or none of that stuff. This is all Alder's ambition. She literally calls out the bellwethers and pets her for being ambitious when she's the most ambitious person in this entire series. And I think that is very interesting. But yeah. So you got my gold stars today. Anacostia in Alder's office, gold star. And an M, them coming in there and literally looking like she was having fun, rolling in and going through the Camarilla in that parking lot like they were Kleenex, gold star. And I got to give gold star to Tally, because Tally is like not playing around. Tally's face at the end of that episode, especially when Rael was like, they're hunting Abigail, basically they're hunting her. And then Tally was like, oh no, we done with this. I'm like, oh, guys, this episode is some stuff. How cool is Gregorio though? Gregorio is like a very cool character. He's getting like, he was literally studying mother tongue with Adil, having a great time. And then the whole banter with Abigail, where she's like, my mother tells me you have lots of prospects. And he's like, you seem surprised by this information. I love his character. He's such a smart ass. He's definitely come a long way from being on the Nancy Drew show, because that's what I call it, the show that shall not be talked about. So as Gil, I love him a lot more in Motherland, Fort Salem. So definitely love his character. So Gregorio is a very cool character. If she had to have a baby with someone and she didn't have to be in love with them, I would have no problem with Gregorio and her just kind of, maybe she could just like take an egg and like get a surrogate and then they can just do their thing because it's still her DNA and her genetics and just like, hey, spawn, like fertilize that and then move on. So they don't have to do anything together. But, that's probably not what's going to happen. I don't know. I don't know why they don't do that. If she's so endangered, harvest her eggs, take a lot of her eggs, because that's how they do it in the real world when you have cancer. Why don't they just do that? So it's a thing. All right, so let's jump up to the top. I see we have lots of comments. So let's see. Public now, the general public is more on edge and willing to set the Salem Accords that give witches their so-called safety via servitude. It's only a matter of time before everyone is stripped. Yeah, I'm worried about the outcome of the witches. Like, what is going to happen to them when they figure out that Alder is crap? I don't know. I really felt bad for witches in general. It seems like the civilians don't even want to give them a chance. I think... And this is the thing, people are not remembering. This did not start with the Camarilla. They were attacking witches. They are pissed off because the spree has been literally mass murdering people. Like, and they want the army to stop it, and they feel like the army isn't doing anything about it. And if you look at season 1, they really weren't. So, yeah. They actually have not really stopped the spree from doing anything, because at the Bellwether wedding, it wasn't the spree, it was the Camarilla that came. So they've never really had a confrontation with the spree outside of the episode where Libba gets killed, unfortunately, trying to stop the trucks. That is another thing that's messed up. So yeah, that was problem. That's problematic. Away from which is a whole other issue is a new international witch hunt. Now, I'm really wondering what the Hague's going to do too, because that's their version of the UN. So I'm very. It's interesting that Kalita chose to go to India with one of the representatives we saw from last season. They were trying to figure out what to do with the Tulum, because they didn't know, because they knew that the people were living on the border between Russia and China, but they were like trying to figure out how to get them, how to Alder wanted, of course, the seed, because she's greedy and ambitious and wants everybody's power. But at that point, even India was trying to offer them a safe place, like refuge in their country. And Kalita was like, nah, I'm not having that. But now all of a sudden she's willing to go to India, but I think it's to get away from Alder. Kalita is smart. They should listen to her. I agree. It was a good show. Hey, this episode was great. Can we talk about the last scene with Tally and Alder just having her hair down, relaxed? I feel so much fanfic could be written in that moment. I mean, yeah, you still ship Tally and Alder, but Tally had that look on her face like, don't get me wrong. I'm not always nice. I'm like, let me show you what happens and how creative I can be when I'm pissed. Like, she's not playing with Alder. Anacostia wasn't playing with Alder. They're getting sick of Alder. Let's see. This is going to be really bad, especially since the Hague are going to die, and we know that Kalita is with them. I hope Kalita doesn't die. I think that she has the same abilities that her brother has. She can make that weird force field thing that her brother can make. So I think she's going to be fine. Now, they're all going to die, but she'll be fine. Just like how mutants were treated exactly like in the comics, cartoon, hell, any sort of media, the second that the X-Gen, or in case the witch gene presents itself, people would react negatively. I agree with that. It was never treated like as a blessing. Hell, people literally called them monsters and abominations, even if they were literally this next stage of evolution. People are crap sometimes. I was worried about Kalita as well. I really don't think Kalita's going to die. I don't think Kalita will die, but she most likely probably will get captured. If they capture her, they'll kill her. But Kalita is a very, very strong witch, and she has a seed. Like, they have seeds that are very powerful. And I don't know if the Camarilla has anything that could actually defeat Kalita, to be honest with you. So I'm not worried about Kalita at all. I'm really not. It's funny they keep saying not our daughters, but most were not their children. I know, right? Another thing. So Raelle was in the crowd control, right? She even gets hit in the head with a rock. Why isn't Alder treating her like a precious, one of a kind, weapon? Because if she dies, then all of her abilities die with her. So why is she not treated like precious cargo? I don't get that. I don't get that at all. Yeah, I'm worried about Cletus. She just narrowly escaped death, and now we have to deal with the camera on top of the spree, along with civilian terrorist attacks. Great. Just great. That's true. Oh my God, did y'all see when Raelle got hit with that rock? I did. I like how she looked at it. She was like, and she looked around. She was like, motherfucker. I'm like, who did this? I'm like, that was funny. The worst thing that might happen is her vocal cords get snatched by the Camarilla to be made an example of. I really hope not. That would be, I don't like when anybody has to go through that, but for a child to go through that, I couldn't handle that. Not at all. I remember seeing a shield around Khalida on that train, so I don't think she'll die. Yeah, she has the same abilities that, Adil has, so I don't worry about her at all. Hello, Maria. Many good blessings. Thank you, Eric. Yeah, now we have the Camarilla have evolved in their advancements in technology to be able to rework Chauvel's vocal cords in a way not only to lure Abby, but deceive and frighten many of our coven. Yeah, that what's so weird is she was the only one they let hear it. We need to put that in perspective because Raelle and Tally and M, they heard, and even Gregorio, they didn't hear anything. Like it was just directed at Abigail because they are hunting her. Because if they can cut off the bellwether line, they feel like that's the most powerful family in the army. And technically it's true. So if they can get rid of Abigail, she can't procreate. She can't have any children carry on the line. That is a victory for them. So they definitely want to get rid of Abigail. So she's in danger all the time. What was her name? Bridie. We need Bridie back as her bodyguard. Because if Bridie had been there, man, she would have. You think M would have been badass? I don't know where Bridie is anymore, but they need to bring her back. Yep, she'll probably get her vocal cords taken, but the Camarilla aren't the safety type, so she'll be dead if they do take her vocals. I mean, anybody I think would be dead if they take them out. It doesn't seem to be like a process that leaves anyone alive. I like seeing M getting some action. They were walking and they were like, this is gonna be fun. And as soon as that came out of M's mouth, I was like, oh, it's on. And Tally didn't fight anybody. I don't think I saw Tally fight. I think she went right to Abigail and was holding her, and M was literally beating the hell out of everybody in that parking lot alone. Yeah, I would not be sparring with her. I would not be sparring with her. Let's see. Maybe Khalida protected herself. I do. Like I said, I think I think that shield is what's going to save her. And I would hate for Adil to lose the last member of his family when all he asked for was to live in peace. Adil angry at Abigail also was very interesting. It's like the really pacifist and sweet ones are the ones you really need to watch. Like Tally, very sweet, very appeasing. She's like a yes ma'am, yes sir person until she gets mad. And then it's like all bets are off. I love the fact that the army seems surprised that the Camarilla have evolved. Nothing stays the same forever. Let's be clear. So last season when they started realizing it was Camarilla, they were trying to convince Alder of this when they realized the Bellwether family that, of course, were half witches. They were half Bellwethers, were being killed and had their vocal cords taken out. And they didn't even realize why. These people had no idea they were even in danger. They were taking out Petra's family left and right. And they were trying to tell Alder, this is not the spree. This is something else. And she's like, no, that's impossible. She was getting in her feelings and getting angry about it. And had she listened, maybe they wouldn't have had all of this crap happening from the beginning. But Alder doesn't listen to anybody because Alder knows everything. So it's a thing. Hi, Cheston. How are you doing, lady? This episode should be renamed Alder Tried It. Yep, I agree with that. M is so badass. Yes, M is. That commercial just had me down. I'm telling you guys, when I saw that commercial, I went into my childhood. I'm like, I remember sitting in international school in Germany and having these American recruitment commercials that I call brainwashing techniques to try and get me to follow into my dad's footsteps and join the Air Force. That's literally what I saw. And I was dying. And then I coupled that with every commercial that we saw in WandaVision. I'm like, this is gold. This is gold. Hey, Maria, are you talking about Spectrum? That's what we had in the Pacific region. Did you have Spectrum? Huh. I need to do some thinking. Hang on. Let me think. Not Alder Vision. It is older vision. I'm telling you, older vision is what we are calling this now. This is all older vision. I wonder if they have people in the army as consultants for this show. I mean, technically, the good thing about this is they are a different Earth, so they can mess up and redo whatever they want because this Earth is not our prime. So, comic book land, guys, we are prime Earth. They're Earth 626 or 666 or whatever you want to call it. So they can really do whatever the heck they want in their version of their Earth. So, as we have seen a million times across DC, Marvel, and every other comic book company we've seen release stuff. The commercial reminded me of Psycorp in Babylon 5. Yeah, they took a lot of elements, but that is a standard commercial that you would see as a military brat. And I'm just putting it out there. Why would anyone want to test if the choices is forced induction or draft and a target on your back by rogue witches and witch hunters? I wonder, did they make it illegal not to get tested? You know, like the Philippines do with people that don't take the COVID vaccine. You will take it, or you will go to jail. I'm like, that could be what's happening. Time to throw away both Bonnie and her Walmart Gordon Green. Yep, I agree. Also, not our daughters reminded me of Black Lives Matter. It's so interesting you said that because I was thinking of, I know I have not done my the Republic of Sarah videos the past 3 episodes. I'm trying to pay catch up. But there's a scene in one of the shows where it kind of looked like a BLM thing, but would not go, basically the way theirs went, they should have all gone into the hospital because these people had like nightsticks and stuff. And it was like, that's not that's not reality. So I guess if I had to suspend my disbelief on that, it would be that they did not end up in the hospital. When I was watching Motherland Fort Salem tonight, I was really thinking the exact same thing. The only thing I will say, it felt like Ray had main character insurance because she was literally like, she was here and they were surrounding her. The angry, not our daughter protesters, the I hate the army because they are doing nothing about the spree. The angry mob had this child in the middle of them and they could have taken her out. They could have beat the stuffing out of her. And that's before that little, whatever we're calling I'm going to call it the Camarilla bomb, the wave that knocked everybody down. That was way before that. So I don't know why their protest was not violent because besides her getting hit in the head with a rock, nobody really did anything. It was the Camarilla that was doing it. So it was weird. It was really weird. I don't know. Let's see. Sorry, trying to make sure. Terrestrial, are you giving me scores for a game that's playing? I'm confused right now. Bonnie Bennett, a Bennett witch would smoke these girls, and Bonnie would roll in there and be like, I'm not joining the army, but I'll help you out. Just for now. Just for right now. When Anacostia talked back to Alder, the others had this look like, oh, the biddies didn't even hiss. Did you notice that? The biddies did not hiss when Anacostia was like, when she was like, I didn't give you permission to speak freely. She's like, I didn't ask. I was like, oh, look. The biddy behind her, I think she was the one of the black ones was literally behind her. And she's like, no, I'm not, I see what's happening. I'm leave that alone. And Anacostia was like, lady, you don't want this. You don't want this. I'm like, yo, she don't. Oh gosh. Bonnie Bennett supremacy, queen of TVD. Yeah, I love Bonnie. Anacostia is no one to mess with. She was not. She even had this look on her face when she's like, when Alder was like, can we have the room? And Petra was like, here we go. And Anacostia was like, not scared. I'm not scared. I was like, oh, what's happening? Let's see. Nick the Bancoin. Nita is a very interesting character. I need to know more about her. I really need that because I'm telling you, in my heart of hearts, that Alder was the one that literally made the martyrdom happen. She set them on fire. She made them martyrs. She killed them. I think she killed them. And when Niska was like, they surrendered. You have a black heart, Sarah. There was a reason she said that. She killed her own damn witches. I'm telling you, that's what happened. Oh my gosh. So queen. Oh, I can't. Yes, Ketsia, the queen without her TVD would really exist. Wasn't expecting TVD to become the new topic. I've read all the Vampire Diaries novels before the ghostwriter took over L.J. Smith stuff. And I also loved her Secret Circle stuff too. If you didn't realize she wrote that, she did before the network's ghostwriter that too. So she's written a lot of cool stuff. The Night World is a very good series she does as well. But that's all my high school years, guys. I read all that in high school. See, the basic archetype for whose supernatural world as we know it is TVD. I mean, yeah, mine actually was her Night World series. And I need to make a video about how everybody who loved Twilight doesn't realize that L.J. Smith had a lot of the stuff from her books adapted into those books, and not in a good way. And then I won't bring up the Michaelsons. Let's see. Abby was having a tough time this ep. Yes, she was. She absolutely was. I feel really bad for her. I know last season she was very arrogant, but I mean, then we know why. Look who her mother is, you know. But Petra seems to have calmed down a little bit too this season. I guess having her daughter be alive again and her saying she's not going to like waste this chance. She really meant it. But man, that was a thing. Are we talking Dahlia or Esther? Because they both nothing to mess with. Esther was really cool. If your name is Abigail, you automatically have bad luck. And you know what? I bet you we're not going to see Abby again in Charmed. We'll see on Friday if she's even in the episode. Oh my gosh. Don't get me started about that, guys. We wouldn't even have witch hunters with those two combined talents. We wouldn't even need moles or spies. True. Hashtag PR Abby. Yes, that was sick of the Camarilla to do that to my Abigail. I was hot. I know you meant protect Abby. I see the next comment, Kevin. But yeah, I was in my feelings about that too. I'm like, that was so messed up to use her cousin's voice. That is so messed up. And then dude was like, we basically came to finish what we started at the wedding. And he was so bold, he even took his mask off. I'm like, wow. Man, there's some hateful A's. There's some hateful A's. Was about to snipe at the Abby Jameson family. Yeah, like I said, don't get me started on that. Did you like Batwoman season 2? Well, Devon, I made a big video about my feelings on that. So you can go watch that because it is long and we don't have time for that rant today. Elliot Lawrence said that Scylla and Raelle will come back together at least for a time. In a later episode, Adil meets Abigail's fathers. Oh boy. Batwoman season 2 had great potential, poor execution, underutilized of the character story arcs, and how it's related to the actual story didn't make sense. Yep. And I have a problem with Ryan's writing. Big problem. You used her scourge and broke their magical sound nullification devices until they brought the knives and cut through her 2 scourge, and then came the beat down. I'm telling you, that was that scene made it. When M came in there and she's like, or they were like, this is gonna be fun. I was like so cocky, but you know, they have the power to back up the cockiness, and that's what I love about M's character. I kind of like seeing Scylla separate from Raelle, and they seem like more complete people apart. I feel like Scylla should have a redemption arc. Stop trying to put this girl with Raelle when she has done nothing to redeem herself. I'm sorry. She's done nothing to redeem herself. And I tell people, like, I get in my feelings when people are all like, Abigail in Charmed is such a horrible character. She's so shady and blah, blah, blah. She didn't kill 1,601 people. But yet the same name, a few of the same people will get in my stream and get in their feelings about me talking about Scylla being a terrorist and a murderer when she's a terrorist and a murderer. And so that, to me, the hypocrisy in that. This is coming from a queer woman. I am not anti-LGBT. I'm in an LGBT marriage. I understand the actress from Amalia Home is gorgeous. She's sweet. I love listening to her in interviews. She's been in a lot of comedy stuff in Sweden and in here. So I've known her outside of Motherland, Port Salem. This isn't the shot at the actress. It is the fact that this character was written to be a terrorist and a murderer. And just because you pair her in a cute little lesbian romance with Raelle does not mean she's not a terrorist and a murderer. People need to get their damn priorities straight. That stuff right there freaks me out. It just does. Just putting it out there. It freaks me out. People are scary and they get toxic when you say anything about Scylla. They get toxic. If you're a content creator, they're like, yo, you don't understand, and you're evil, and you don't like gay people, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, cray. Cray. Batman season 2 is why it's going to be season 3. It was better than the first season. Devin, we will agree to disagree on that. Yeah, Scylla is a mass murderer. She literally killed 1,600 people in under 10 minutes. She needs a major redemption arc. Yep. Hey, Queen, haven't watched episode 4 yet, but I wanted to check in. Hi, Sean. Wish I'd seen this earlier. I'm sorry. The Vice President League with the Camarilla. That's the Little Boots came up with this. I don't take credit for anybody's theories, but when Little Boots put that on that last week's review, it got me thinking, and I'm like, oh, the ramifications of that would be crazy. If that's not something that Elliot Lawrence does, that is a missed effing opportunity, because that would be perfect to have him be one of the orchestrators, big supporters of the Camarilla. I would be in my feelings about it, and it would be amazing. Scylla and her terrorist acts with her circle has really what got witches globally in the situation. They have empowered these extremists to recruit with their terrorist acts. Yep, absolutely. Just to let y'all know, I'm already working on a charm fanfic where Max Franklin, the first witch the Prue saved, has 4 powerful kids and tries to save the world from the charm ones and Harry. That is awesome. You need to like start linking where your stuff is. The security was terrible. I mean, anybody could have just rolled in there. I'm like, what is happening? Like anybody. They didn't need the Camarilla. They literally could have just had rocks and just started throwing it at them. They can't. What can they do? What can the military optically do against protesting civilians? Yes, they can call SWAT, because I did see that they had their version of SWAT, or they had, people who look like SWAT coming in to try and restrain people after the bomb went off and after all the stuff went cray. But I mean, the military can't do anything. I don't even know why they thought having Raelle and Tally and all them there was going to mean a damn thing, because they can't fight back, because if they're witches, they are powerful and they can't beat up civilians. So I don't know what they thought was going to happen. I don't know, guys. I don't know. See, Little Boots. Imagine the vice president's daughter finds out that he's a Camarilla and has to kill her before she tells others and goes against him. That could be a thing. They're setting something up between them. She's already in her feelings that her dad's treating her differently. And he is, because he doesn't like witches. I mean, it's fairly obvious. I'm shocked how Alder did not realize the second she stepped out on the platform with Penelope that the people were ready to stage an attack. I'm shocked that she seemed shocked about most of the stuff that went on in this episode. I mean, Anacostia hasn't seen you for a week. You have not looked Anacostia in the face for how long? Anacostia has been off base living her best life, because I guess she just has that privilege. She didn't have to be on base all the time. I mean, basic hasn't started yet, so I guess she has nothing to do. She's probably a teacher during summer. She can just go live her life and then come back, which is very strange, because you would think in the military, if you're not teaching, you're fighting or you're doing something else. But she's like living her best life. So I'm like, okay. I agree about the security. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. You just sit there and watch the police get the box from the person in the truck and hand it to another woman, and she walks and hands it to another, and nobody thought to ask what the hell was in the box, because there's nobody to ask. Because nobody was caring. Oh, Lord. Alder is no supreme. I like to see any of the witches attempt the 7 wonders. Fiona will show them how to deal with witch hunters. Who's the baddest witch? Yeah. Also, how many spree cells are there? Exactly. We know that a lot of their leadership got taken out, because we saw that in the premiere, I think it was the pilot episode when Willa was talking to Scylla about the Camarilla and them throwing basically the what do you call it? It was that black plague bomb. That's what we're calling it. The black plague bomb, taking out some of their leadership in the restaurant. And the only reason that Willa didn't die is because she wasn't sitting at the table. She, I guess, went to the bar. It's a thing. It is a thing. Yeah, I really think about just watch episode 1 of the episode and not see him as Camarilla. I mean, he has a look on his face that says, I am evil and I don't like witches. So sleeper cell Camarilla member. Yep. I think he could be footing the bill. I mean, somebody needs to be funding them. They can't be getting all this stuff on their own. Somebody is funding the tech. Somebody's funding all this. When the vice president's daughter Penelope was singing and she started making the stained glass window melt, that man's face did not look shocked. He looked disappointed. Like, oh, you're one of them too. I would not be surprised if Penelope finds out that the reason her mother is dead, because I'm pretty sure she's supposed to be dead, is because her father had her killed because he found out she was a witch. And the only reason he can't off his daughter is potentially because optically all this happened while they were filming her. So how would that look? I think that is messed up and I love it. I love it. Alder days are numbered. From the people who were carrying signs, at least 3 of them said that Alder puppeted the president, so the public knows. I saw that. Yeah. Alder, she's losing power. She just doesn't realize it. With each passing episode, with how the camera is operating, it shows be more and more similar to the MRD and Sentinel services from Marvel Comics, and I fear for our people. Yeah, that's why I'm glad we're on Prime Earth. We got to deal with it. Why is Phoebe Halley's husband vice president? And how did he not know his daughter is a witch? He married a charm one. I'll get it together, Coop. Look, he is not literally a charmed one's husband. He is not a Cupid anymore. He left all that behind to become the opposite of what he was. And that's probably another indication that he's evil. Because normally when they do another show, they try and put their past, kind of like reputation or what people saw them for aside, and everybody knew that he was pure love on Charm. So now he's gonna be pure evil on Motherland, Port Salem. So yeah, I think Little Boots called it. That man is Camarilla. Alder's adding oil to a forest fire. Yep, she doesn't know what she's doing. She's been around for 300 years. You think marketing kind of got in her soul at one point? She doesn't know what she's doing. Aunt Lauren said last season that the Free are somewhat separate to one another. Yeah, they're all different cells. They're terrorist cells. There's a lot that mimics real life. There are a lot of different cells and a lot of terrorist organizations. So that makes sense. Facts are fact. The Spree is the cause for this, and the army can't combat terror cells. I agree. Does anyone else think Mutant X series whenever they see this guy, then Coop the Cupid? Yep. Yep. You have an elder making people sign stuff or agree to stuff unwilling that's going to come back to bite her in the butt. Yep. That scene where the first young lady was being, basically walking through the crowd of angry people and then having to go test if she's a witch and then being told that she's one. I thought she was going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't do this because these people are going to kill me. Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I've always felt different. Thank you. And I'm like, oh Lord, they brainwashed another one. Basically, hate creates even more hate. I agree with that. I wonder if there's a way to break that contract, and I wonder if the reason is still alive so the contract can still be active, or if she ever dies, the contract will be void. That's a thing. A lot of gold stars going around. They got those gold stars tonight. I kind of hate this forced drafting and these lists. The president needs to free these witches from indentured servitude. This isn't right. I agree. I absolutely agree with that. Let's see here. Why don't you like Nancy Drew? That's another long video. I'm glad Papa Legba not in this universe. Alder doesn't have the integrity of Cordelia Fox. She would have sold her witches out again in a heartbeat. Yeah. I'm shipping Adil and Gregorio now. Sorry, Abigail. Well, that's fine. I'm shipping Ray and Abigail, so it's fine. I love how maternal Ray is with Abby now. She how Ray normally treats Tally. She treats Abigail like with kid gloves. I love it. I absolutely love it. Alder's Judgment Day is coming. Yep. No, Nancy Drew Riverdale, even shirtless spinoff. I can handle. Like I said, I can't. I wonder what the anti-Alder commercial will look like. I want them to do it. They need to do a not our daughter's commercial response. I need to see this. I think it would be awesome. People act like they didn't see season 1 with the balloons floating around as weapons of mass destruction. I mean, didn't they hit like high school sporting games and the mall is nothing sacred? Heck, they even went to a community center with elderly people and people that were doing like rehabilitation and froze all of them in the ice. I mean, they're horrible. They are horrible. Why can't they harvest witches' eggs and fertilize it and impregnate Abigail? Exactly what I said. I don't understand. I mean, that's what we do in the real world. I don't get it. I do not get it. Isn't it this time frame seen as not a thing? Because it's a different Earth. I don't know, but you would think that would still be a thing. I don't know. I have no idea. I feel like there's always a division with civilians and witches because witches are told not to be with civilians and civilians see witches as people with more power. So it's okay if they fight, not them. Yeah, they make it seem like witches are more elitist, but at the same time, they're also enslaved. It's very weird. It's just a very weird dynamic. People hate mutants up until aliens hit. Then they were all like one race, pick a side in humans, LL forever. Well, I mean, that's what's happening with the army and the spree. Conclusion, count 1 plus for real. Concussion count. Oh, concussion count plus 1 for real. Yeah, she should. Look, people get hurt in Motherland, Fort Salem all the time, and I don't understand how they make it. I'll be real with you. I remember seeing the behind-the-scenes pictures of that rally online. Yeah, I probably should look for more behind the scenes because I'm really looking forward to episode 5. And starting tomorrow, they'll start doing sneak peeks online, but it's normally on the YouTube channel. I think it's Spoiler TV. We won't see it on Motherland until later in the week, but they'll do sneak peeks on like Spoiler TV, and then you'll see different cut scenes. So, and it's interesting what you get from those scenes because like they kind of spoiled a few things accidentally, I'm sure. I mean, this is 2021. Doesn't she just donate some of her eggs? Her and her mother. Is that a weird, thought? No, I mean, that's what they do. I mean, they do it if you have cancer. With my medical condition, a lot of women have to donate eggs because they can't get pregnant on their own. It's just so like, I don't understand why this is not a thing in their universe. I don't know. It's really weird. It's just really weird to me. I don't know. It's always the quiet ones you need to look out. The quiet and the sweet ones. That's what you need to watch. It's always the sweet ones you have to watch out for. Yep. These matches are a little archaic. Why not optimize this process with donor eggs and sperm and let the people live their lives? And for a show that's written by somebody in the LGBT community, it's weird for me to say this, but I just have to say it. Forcing somebody who has no sexual attraction or desire to be with someone of the opposite sex to procreate through having sex, to me is barbaric. I mean, it's just barbaric. I don't understand that at all. I need the Nexus commercials in this episode is what I need. Yep, I agree with that. I need the TVA. You're all variants. The writers from Army Wives aren't working. They could consult for this show. I like that idea. I like the Army Wives. That was a good show. Are you going to do a Black Widow review? I'm going to do a collaboration video with Joe's Geek Show about on Black Widow. I'm going to be real with you guys. I didn't watch Black Widow because I'm not a fan of MCU and technically comic book version of Black Widow. That's not Monica Lee. But he did watch it. So he's going to talk about it for my channel. And I honestly would probably only be watching it for Yelena because I saw clips of her and I thought she was hysterical. So I think that's why I would actually watch the movie. But that was one of the MCU movies I never had a desire to see. And I know that probably makes me a bad comic book / comic movie lover. But I just never cared for Scarlett Johansson's version of Black Widow. I just never did. And so I felt like seeing her origin story, which would have made more sense to show her origin story pre-Endgame, would have been, probably time-wise would have made more sense. Right now, it's just like, whatever. I tried. I was going to rent it, and I just on Disney Plus, and I just couldn't do it. I'm like, no. I ended up watching Fear Street Part 2 and a bunch of other stuff that I'm going to be reviewing. And I watched Resident Evil, the animated new series. Mini-series, which I actually was not that thrilled with either. So it's a thing, guys. Why aren't they protecting Abigail and Raelle? Shouldn't they have protective detail? I mean, to be clear, last season we had this conversation in one of my videos where I said the exact same thing, because there was an episode right after Charvel, the Bellwether wedding, where Bridie, I think her name was her bodyguard for an entire episode. And then she just went away. And we didn't see Bridie again until the season finale, when she was flying the chopper to get away from the Tareem territory. So I don't know what the requirements are for the bodyguards to stay around. Do you only get them for one day? I don't know, but they need to bring Bridie back. That's what they need. Yes, it could have done that, or what Krakoa is doing when it comes to making more mutants, or in this showcase, making some witches via fluorotext. I like that, actually. I call it a witch flash bang grenade. Witch flash bang grenade. I like that. Alder's feelings were hurt with Mama Costa. Oh yeah, because she kind of adopted her, so she definitely is in her feelings over that. Forget Powerpuff Girls. I want live action Owl House. Can we not already with the live action Avatar? I can't even. I'm so worried about that. I mean, I'm just worried about it. I'm looking forward to Avatar Studios. Let's put it that way. Tally seems like the only one that took Anacostia's lessons and drive to heart. Anacostia would be proud that she made Tally a mini her. I agree. Plus, she'd be proud that she's going to go. She walked into the office and pretty much did Anacostia. No more lies, bitch. I'm telling you, I love it. I thought about Krakoa with the whole Sarah Lance storyline currently. Yeah, her being an alien hybrid isn't helping. We are doing our Arrowverse Wednesday tomorrow, guys, so we can talk about Arrowverse stuff tomorrow, because we have Legends, we have The Flash, and we have the wonderful Superman and Lois, because all of that stuff was cracked. So we'll have a lot to talk about tomorrow. Of course, I know about the Secret Circle team, Adam. I love the Secret Circle. It's such a good one. But the Night World is one a lot of people don't realize is blatantly ripped off by the Arthur of Twilight. Abigail hearing that chord saying Chevelle's voice is reminiscent of Mockingbirds in the Hunger Games. True. But man, so messed up. So messed up. I feel like the faction is secretly behind these attacks. Alder looks so freaking good with her hair down, drinking her tea. Her TJLI started shipping her simping hard. I mean, she's a gorgeous woman. That we're not gonna take that away from her. She's just shady as hell. That's different. You can be gorgeous and be shady. Let's see. Ryan just fell short of the Street Avenger of the people we needed. We need to have some Street Avengers in this show. Still a bit peeved with how the moves that Alder is making when it comes to witches as a whole. For the most part, she is just becoming too much of a risk to the population with her actions and the hypocrisy of motives to stay in power. Yep, I absolutely agree with that. I totally agree. Your stance on Scylla needing a redemption arc is the main reason I watch your review. Well, I appreciate that. I mean, like I said, people just want somebody to be in a ship, and the ship overpowers common sense. And I don't understand that, because I really think to myself, if Scylla was a heterosexual character and did not have any romantic attachment with anybody in the show and still did the same crap, people would treat her just like they treat Abigail in Charmed. And that is 1,000,000,000% true. But because they put Scylla with Raelle, she automatically gets a pass for murder. And that is bullshit. I'm sorry. I don't care about gray area. Murder is murder with me, guys. If you murder people, you end their lives. And in her case, 1,601 people's lives. You are a murderer. End of story. I don't want to hear a damn thing else about it. You are a murderer. And I am one of those reviewers that I don't care if you come at me. I don't, because it is the truth. So you can get over your little feelings and you'll be all right. And let's not forget, she made Penelope the face of the little show they gave them when they came to the protest. Yeah, I found my voice. I'm like, no, no, Penelope, no. I feel bad for her. She doesn't even know what she's in for in basic yet. She has no idea. That class where who did she slit? She slit somebody's throat. Who was it? It was one of the classes. They were all standing there, and the teacher just came in and then just cut one of the girls' throat and then fixed it. And I'm like, I don't think Penelope's ready for that. Alder may have saved herself for the time being 300 years ago, but she has chained herself and possibly every generation of witches after her for eternity into servitude. And she knows she's wrong. She just doesn't care. All she wants is power and her title. Yep. I mean, you pretty much called it. Because without her power and her status, what good is she? And what happens with the biddies if she no longer is the general and she's no longer in charge of anything? Why does she need biddies? So then she'll just age and die. That's what I think is going to happen. I don't know. I feel you on Scylla and Rail Marie. It's just frustrating how the shippers blatantly ignore the bad stuff she has done just to ship it. Yep. And you're going to see that you're going to see it across the board. Across the board. It doesn't matter if I ship, Abigail and Rail. That may never happen. But my problem is ignoring the horrendous, horrible things people do because you like their ship. It just happens. It happens in comics. It happens in TV shows. It happens in movies. I will never understand that at all. I will never understand it. And people get so toxic when you call them out about it, or you say anything negative about a ship that they like. They are ready to fight you, like physically fight you. These people aren't even real. These people don't even date each other in real life. They are not real, but they are ready to fight you over it. And it's such a BS to me. I don't know. But then I'm in my 40s. So, I try to practice common sense and realize that realism, versus fantasy exists. And this is reality. And this is a TV show. Let it go. What if the witch line comes from his side of the family? Some trash action X-Men. That'd be cool. I want to know more about Gregorio's family. I hope we get to see some of his family members. If they go back to meet Abigail's dads, that'd be cool. High Atlantis are always fascinating to me. Tally versus Alder next week. Can't wait. They better show it. They better not brush over it. It better not be her back with her girls saying, yeah, Alder didn't tell me anything. I'm going to be so mad. I said on another site that if Scylla was a man, would people still think her character was so great? No, probably not. No, I mean, unless he was in a ship with another guy. I don't know why we in the LGBTQ community give each other passes for bad behavior, but it happens all the time. I mean, let's be clear. I watch the L Word and the L Word Generation Q, and they do some shady stuff in those shows, and they get passes because it's Shane and Bet, and it's just I can't. No, unless they are a Dexter watcher or a Cole Turner fan. And yes, Vice President Coop Silva definitely gives me Donald Pierce and William Stryker vibes. And we all know how they went against mutants with both funding, experimentation, and shady dealing. Yep, absolutely. Let's see. I think I'm doing great. I think I'm getting to the bottom. I'm trying, guys, because we're almost over an hour. So we're going to take a few more. The head of security was in on it. You can see them talking with the guy Anacostia was telling. Oh, yeah. Yeah. See, I saw that. But what got me was that there didn't seem, even when they were setting up, they didn't seem to have a lot of security. So, and that could have been part of the plan too. But I mean, as Alder being the person that has all these young women coming in and seeing how dangerous it is, why in the hell would you not double check security? Why did you only bring a handful of army people? Bring a whole battalion. Why did you not do that? I don't understand. I don't get that at all. It's very weird. I feel like someone will fight Alder for leadership. I'm hoping it's Petra. Petra or Abigail, exactly. I think Petra will fight for leadership. What is necro ability? Basically, necro ability is the ability to commune with the dead. So they're able, like we saw that with Scylla's boyfriend that she killed. They're going to use the necro seed to bring him back for his last moments of life so he could tell them who killed him. But it was sabotaged by Willow because she had somebody on the inside, and they stopped Porter from being able to say Scylla's name. But Scylla killed him, so that's what she does. She kills people. And Porter wasn't even a bad guy. He seemed really sweet. He was just put off by her. So it's a thing. And once Penelope finds out the truth about what happened to her mother, then I can see her being either a victim, sacrificial lamb due to Alder, or her own father's insane actions. Yep, I can see that. What's the count for Jacob Kane? Jacob's gone. Actually, maybe it'll be 2021 and maybe sometime in the 1980s. Who knows? I never really thought about the fact that, I don't know if they've ever really said what the time period was in Motherland for. You know what? That's a really good point. I have no idea. We don't see anybody. Does anybody use their cell phones in this? Has anybody seen everybody use their phones? You just made a very good point, Eric. I have no idea. So the person that asked, necros are able to manipulate the forces of life and death, and they incorporate that into their work, I believe. Not really sure. Yeah. Like we saw Scylla do a death camp where she lets basically a mushroom grow. But then we saw them try to bring Porter back, and I thought that was interesting. If I had to procreate with a Sabrina, I would have to close my eyes really tight, have a lot of dark liquor, and think of Nick. I mean, yeah, you just can't do it. Don't feel bad, Maria. I was never a Black Widow fan either. Thank you. I couldn't get into it. But I would love her as a person and chill buddy. I just want Netflix to chill with Nick. Black Widow was okay. Yeah, we're going to talk about Black Widow because Joe did watch it. We were talking over Marco Polo and Facebook, and he did watch it. So we are going to do, so there will be a Black Widow review on my channel. It just will not be done by me. I will be learning along with you what Joe thought of the movie. So I already know the spoilers. I already know how they tie into the next movie, which I will not talk about here. But that's fine because that's really all I needed. But I do think that I will like Yelena because Yelena, from what I've saw the clips on YouTube, she is effing hilarious. So why is Alder not protecting the Bellwethers? Because she don't care. Like she don't care if they die out. That's what it is. I was more about Ambrose before Prudence, but they just threw me. I have a thing for the bad edge. And like I said, there's not anything wrong with the bad boys and bad girls when they redeem themselves. They can keep their edge. But if there's something completely wrong with shipping people that have not even attempted a redemption. So I just, the only thing Scylla was upset about was Raelle dumped her because she got caught. That's literally it. She got caught. It wasn't like, oh, baby, I feel so guilty. Can you forgive? No. She got caught and imprisoned. And then got upset when Raelle was like, you're better off going to jail. And Raelle accepted that she was in jail. Raelle had real feelings for this girl and probably still has real feelings for this girl. But this girl has not redeemed one thing. So, nope. I only like Black Widow with the enhanced storyline they have overlooked in MCU and Disney Universe. I like her version of enhanced human powers prior to MCU. I'll talk about Black Widow in that review because like I said, I haven't watched it. So that was my baby Isadora who cut the girl's throat. Yeah, Isadora is a mess. She's also a quiet one that pretends to be sweet. Just saying, just throwing it out there. Alder is no T'Challa. What these witches need is Killmonger to change the story. Oh, they couldn't handle Killmonger. They couldn't handle that. I'm also writing a Batman fanfic where Tim is kicked out of the family after he saves Bruce from the time stream, but he discovers that maybe his mom is a bit more what he knew. That'd be cool. I made a video about Raelle and Scylla on my old channel and how problematic that shit was and people didn't want to hear it. Scylla has done some effed up stuff. They don't hear it. They can't hear it because they're crazy. And like, it's so funny. I look at, I do not watch other reviewers. I'm putting this out here. I don't, because number one, I don't want my own opinion to be skewed. So I always do my reviews. I don't watch other people's stuff because I don't want to know. But I did search Rayla to see what came up. And I keep seeing all these people and they just watch the show and they react to it. And every one of their thumbnails is all about Rayla or, Raelle and Scylla. And it's nothing to do with the actual show. There's no theories. There are no reviews on what's going. No one's talking about the Camarilla. They're only talking about when is Scylla and Raelle going to get back together. And I'm like, I've seen so many large YouTube channels and I'm like, this is effing crazy to me. I don't get it. I can't wrap my mind around it. It's very strange to me. It was Isadora who did that, cutting that little witch in season 1. That was so messed up. It was Glory's friend too, I think. Hashtag fixed Tim Drake. Let's see. Trying to see if I make sure I didn't miss anybody's stuff. Cause like, okay. Okay. Look, I get it. Scylla, you need her redemption, but like the gray of Sael and that relationship, I respectfully respect your opinion, but I'm saying I like it. See, I need you to understand, Little Boots. It's not about when you have a couple that you ship and then you learn something about one of those members in a series. then you're like, oh, this is crap. I didn't realize this about this person, but maybe they can redeem themselves. Like what's happening in Charmed with Abigail. So many people hate Abigail because of what she did with Macy, taking her powers that Macy didn't want. She killed the two witches at the beginning of the season, and she did that because she thought the demons were being attacked, and it was what demons do. I mean, everything she did, yes, was kind of shady and for her own benefit. But at the end of the day, she has done nothing but help the Charmed ones, and even confessed that she had feelings for Mel, and people still hate this character. Scylla came into the series, mass murdering 1,600 people. And people are like, but she's so cute with Rael. And I'm like, you can like a relationship, but that's all there is. Scylla, everything Scylla did that was good was because she was into Rael. Everything Scylla did outside of her relationship with Rael was BS and pretty much horrifying. And you cannot separate that. I'm sorry, you can't. This is not a Clark Kent Superman thing. This woman killed people. This woman has not had any remorse. The only time we've seen her have a little bit of remorse is this season when she walked into that in the conscription place where she made everybody jump to their deaths in the pilot episode. That is literally the only time. And that whole remorseful thing she was having lasted until Anacostia started talking to her, and then it was gone. And she has never revisited that. She has never had another emotion about it. It's all about, but the Camarilla are taking witches and they're hurting us. Not, well, I just made all these people's widows. I've killed their children. I've killed their best friends. I've killed their family members. And people are okay with that because they like the ship. They're okay with it. That is the problem that I have when people get rowdy and toxic because you call out somebody for basically killing families and friends and sisters and daughters and mothers and fathers. That is BS to me. I'm sorry. It just is. So I'm not calling out your love or like of a relationship. I just call people out for getting toxic when you say that she's a murderer and a terrorist, because that is what she is. That's what I'm saying. Top or bottom, Maria, I am there just to bring the box of wine and flip a coin and let me watch the KK Body and Ryan as she runs on replay. Oh my God, Ray. Hello, Ray. I seen a Willa Rail and I think Petra used a cell phone. I really need to go back and see if they were using their phones, because I think the age of the phones and the type of phones will show me what the time period is. Honey, I wasn't that much of a Black Widow fan either, aside from her vast number of combatants. That's it. Yeah. Never cell phones seems weird. Like, it's really strange. Maria, who needs a cell phone? These witches have pentagram. I'm done with you. I'm done. Hi, Makisha Simon. I was completely surprised when the biddies didn't hiss at Anacostia when she told Alder off, because they knew. she probably turned around and be like, "What? You got one more. You got one more time to hiss at me." I should make a list of things that I don't see. Yeah, you should. We should talk about that in the next stream to see if you can catch anything from our current timeline, our prime Earth, that they don't have in that one. And Maria, what do you think about the He-Man switch up comic news? Yeah, I need to talk about that, actually. I'm going to talk about that. Yeah, you know how I am. I like to check stuff out. I give it 3 episodes before I just go completely crazy. I don't want to say I like or dislike something until I actually watch it, but I did see that. I also saw they've already started promoting it on Netflix. But we'll see. Off subject, but Flash was dope tonight. Yeah, we're going to talk about Arrowverse. We got our Arrowverse Wednesday tomorrow. We're going to talk about everything Arrowverse tomorrow. I don't get Rayla, but hey, that's why I'm bell collar and a shipper. I mean, I'm right there with you. If you watch a little mini trailer, Petra was standing with other witches while Alder was fighting with someone. So maybe someone who knows Alder will fight her. That would be cool, like battle royale style. That would be very cool. Did that thing what Black Moms do when she starts on the problematic relationship, allowed the matriarchs of my family make the same face before it. I'm sorry. You know, I'm half Black. It comes out. It just comes out. All of my nationalities are problematic. I got Scottish, Native American, and Black. I can't help it. And I'm a mother. So almost 25 years. So it's going to come out. Alder has a twisted side to her. When the civilians threw the fire at her, you could tell in her eyes she would have been killed at the protesters if there was a chance she'd get away with it. She did have that look on her face like, did these biatches? You know, I'm like, no. Mm-mm. Agreed. I don't know why they did that with Charmed and Mel and Abigail. I got you. Yeah, like I said, I think that's what people get in their feelings about. They get in their feelings about, you know, when you say, oh, Raelle and Scylla suck. I'm not saying that. I've always said together, these characters are cute, but I just can't overlook that she's a murderer. I can't overlook it. It just, I don't care how sweet she is to Raelle. She is an absolute bitch to everybody else. So it's a problem. That is problematic for me. Hey, Maria, I'm in the process of working an anime web series. I'd like for you to check it out when it's done one day. But if you don't like it, I know it's not your usual style, but go easy. It's my first time doing anything of this caliber. Hey, I'm never going to say anything. I'm also a voice actor. So, I mean, I support all indie and up and coming animation and writers and everything else within the industry. So it's fine. I will happily check that out for you. In last season episode called City Drop, Abigail goes into the classroom and sees the history progression. At the end, it says, oh, sorry. For some reason, it decided to take that off. So 1 second. Let me go back and find it. Sorry, guys. My mouse was too close. Okay, here we go. Let's see, history progression at the end. It says the 1960s to present. Okay. I got it. Killing people's love. One no-go. Yeah, I just don't like killers. Like, I guess that's probably it. And I don't like how toxic fans get when you call out that this character is a killer. There are literally Angel and Spike fans out there, and there are mass murderers and serial killers, and more people still root for them with Buffy. Okay. Taskmaster was a letdown like Rogue One. Oh, Lord. Yeah, I know about Taskmaster, too. Don't be as brutal with me as you are with the CW, please. Madness, am I going to put you in timeout? I think I'm going to put you in timeout because I am not brutal with the CW. I'm not a reviewer that doesn't call people out on their shit. There is like a difference between being brutal and being honest. If you don't like me being bad with the CW, you're on the wrong YouTube channel because I will call out bad writing where I see it. And when it's good, I will give props. That's just what it is. I'm not going to be that person that just kisses people's butt because I want subs. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. Do you think people will get just as mad as the Superman thing? Huh. Probably. I'm not doing voice acting. I'm just coming up with the ideas. I'm the mastermind, but I have a great team helping me out. No, I didn't say you were doing voice. I said I'm a voice actor. I do a lot of video game voiceovers with different content people. I'm doing one right now. I've done a lot of Steam games. I've done a lot of PS4 games. So I've done stuff with indie companies. It's just, yeah, I support people that do that. I have mad respect for the girls because imagine a mob surrounding you. I would have wind striked everyone. Yep. I was thinking that too. If I couldn't wind strike, that would be coming out. It's time to get brutal. You need to back up. I feel like OG Charm was more risque than current with the love scenes outside of Maggie and Parker, but they are dating in real life. True. That is very true. What is a progression war? Anyone? Progression war? What are you talking about? No, I'm done. Sorry. I don't have issues with it. Well, I'm just putting it out there because like I have the disclaimer, brutal and honest are different things. And all of these opinions are Approach the Nerds opinions. They don't have to be yours. They are just mine. And so that's why I have the disclaimer that I don't go easy on things because that is what reviewers are supposed to do. I'm not going to mad talk everything that I watch. I'm just telling you something that makes sense or it could be a waste of time. I'm going to tell you that because why would I? I mean, it doesn't make any sense to lie about it. It's weird. I'm worried for Spider-Man franchise with Tom and Zendaya news. That's what ruined TBD with the personal drama. Martin in the game. They need to prohibit this in contracts. Were they dating in real life? I haven't heard the drama, so that's interesting. I just feel in all her aggressions towards the Camarilla that maybe Petra might be the one that Abby loses. Oh, yeah, that could be actually, because she's the one orchestrating this whole thing to get close to the Camarilla. So it could be Petra. And Petra's angry that they keep attacking her daughter. So that could be a thing. All right, guys, it is almost an hour and a half. And I know, let's see, it is 11:45 for me. So it has to be later for some of you, or earlier if it's daytime for you. So we are going to cut it off here. Overall, though, another great episode. Every week, this show gets better and better and better. So I'm never disappointed with this series. Of course, we had questions and nitpicks. Like, I still want to know why Raelle is not treated like precious cargo when she's the only one that can do the witch bomb. But, whatever. But again, really, really love this episode. We have some great theories. I'm excited for episode 5. So we will definitely be, of course, having another live stream next Wednesday or next Tuesday. We will definitely have our Arrowverse Wednesday tomorrow because we do have a lot. We have 3 shows to talk about. So it is happening. And this Friday, of course, is Charmed because it is coming back on Friday. So lots of live streams coming up. And I have a few videos coming out too. So it's going to be very cool. If you have any other comments, concerns, questions, life goals, whatever, put them in the comments. As Chaston said earlier, if you have not liked, please like this video. Heck, even dislike it if you don't like it. At least it shows the algorithm that I'm here, because that's something that doesn't happen a lot when I do live streams. So stupid Google algorithm. But yeah, I love you guys. And so I will see you tomorrow. I will set the stream up in the morning. I just got to make sure I'm doing it in between doctor appointments once again. So I will pop it in the morning in the community chat. And more than likely it will be between 2 and 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. So be on the lookout in the community tab. All right, guys, I will see you next time. Bye.